if you're looking to fall in love with reading or just enjoy your reading experiences in general, then you're at the right place, because today I'm going to be sharing some valuable tips to help you fall in love with reading and just enjoy reading in general. Let's get started. Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. It's Rachel here. As always, hit that subscribe button so you never miss a thing. Like this video so that it is fair to other viewers as well. So today, like I said, we're going to be talking simply about how to enjoy reading. How do you fall in love with reading? If you have to read something but you don't really like to read, but you just want to get used to reading or just generally enjoy it, so it's not like suffer head whenever you have to read whatever you're reading. So the thing is that a lot of people actually like to read or desire to read, but they feel like reading is boring and it's not really something that one can enjoy, and they try so hard to fall in love with reading or just enjoy their reading experiences, whether they belong to a book club or they have a reading buddy or accountability partner. It's difficult for some people to actually just fall in love with reading or enjoy their reading experiences. So today I'm going to be sharing some valuable tips that could help you enjoy reading and fall in love with reading. Again, number one is to figure out what you love by testing the waters. So figure out what exactly it is that you love to read. And I think that the problem with this is that a lot of times people often think that because they're seeing things on social media of what maybe their book influencers are tweeting about, posting about, or talking about, they feel like that's what they should love. But guess what? You can actually love different kinds of books that a lot of people don't talk about, genres of books that are not very popular even within your community. But guess what? You will always find people who are so interested in that genre or subgenre of book or whatever kind of book it is. So figure out what you love by testing the waters. There's nothing wrong with trying fiction today, non-fiction tomorrow, or different subgenres of these broad genres. So figure out what you love, test the waters, try different books. If you don't like something, it's fine, you can dump it to move on to the next one. The number two tip is, when you've figured out what you actually like to read, what interests you and what sparks your curiosity, then read those books. A lot of times people figure out that they actually like a particular type of books, and then they don't want to read the books because it's not popular, it's not what people are talking about, you don't really see a lot of reviews on the internet about it. Read it. If it's something that makes you happy or it's something that intrigues you, it might not even be fiction, it might be non-fiction, it might be an area of research that you're interested in that nobody in your community is talking about, it might be an area that somebody has put up some thoughts or thesis about, if it's the science world, if it's even fiction and it's classics of a really long time ago, foreign classics, local classics, whatever type of books, read what you love. That's when you're actually guaranteed that you enjoy your reading experience. So number three is to not compare your reading progress with that of other people. I know that in social media times now, we're all putting up our progress, reading progress. Oh, I read 30 books this month, I read 25 books this month, I read one book this month. Everybody is always trying to track their progress and putting things up just to share with other book lovers to see, okay, has anybody read this book? But sometimes you find that if you're so consumed with looking at what other people are reading and you're comparing it not in a way that inspires you to read more or to fall in love with reading, but in a way that intimidates you, then you find that you stay away from reading. You're like, I can't even read 30 books in a month. But nobody is asking you to read 30 books in a month or 20 books in a month or even 5 books in a month. If you want to read one book in a month and you know that you're happy with that, then go for it. But so the point here is to not compare your progress with that of another to the point where you start feeling intimidated and you don't want to read what you plan to read just because you're like, it's not enough. According to whose standard is one book a month not enough? So think about that when next you want to compare your progress with that of another person's, and especially on social media. The fourth tip would be to explore other genres. Now, you can figure out what you love, do some research, test some waters. You know, there's some parts that I'm not even going to go near here because this particular genre literally bores me, and if I pick up a book in that genre, I'm not going to finish it. That's fine. But amongst the ones that you have decided that maybe you actually might want to give it a try, explore different ones. It's good to mix things up once in a while for a lovely reading experience. That's because when you find that you're reading the same genre over and over and over again, you can get bored and you can lose interest. So it's good to mix things up. If today you read fiction, tomorrow you can read an autobiography of somebody that you truly admire. Tomorrow you can go back to fiction by a foreign author. Another month, fiction by a local author. Another month, maybe a memoir in essays or a collection of poetry. Different things that you might want to explore. There's absolutely nothing wrong with exploring different genres, and you'll be surprised at what you might end up falling in love with. So basically, have an open mind. Don't shut your mind out to saying I can never read this. This one is for smart people. This is for people who read. No, you never know what you might fall in love with. So just keep your mind open and explore different genres. My next tip would be to, while you're exploring different genres, also explore different formats of books. And like I always say on my channel, this is another reminder that audiobooks are actually books. For those of you that think that audiobooks are not books, explore different formats of books. Audiobooks, e-copies, hardbacks, paperbacks, whatever it is that you find, you can explore. Graphic novels, there's so much in the book world. Like, just realize that you're not going to be able to finish reading every single thing that you want to read in this life, because as the more, like, in a year, I can't even count how many books are published in a year. In a month, I can't count how many books are published, and you're trying to read everything. You're like, oh, I want to read this one, I want to read this one. Just make peace with the fact that you're not going to be able to read every single book that is published on this planet, in this life, in whatever situation. So fall in love with the ones that you fall in love with, but in doing that, explore different formats. I recently, well, maybe for the past few months now, I've been doing a lot of audiobooks, and I've loved the experience so far. In fact, there's some books that I listen to on Scribd, which is the audiobook app that I use, and I'm like, oh my goodness, if I read this book in hardback, I don't know whether I would have actually enjoyed it, because some of these narrators, some of these performers, they bring these books to life. Like, they make them so juicy and entertaining. It's almost like a movie that you're listening to, but it's a book that you're actually reading. So I would encourage you to try different formats of books. I'm still trying to get the hang of reading e-copy, soft copy books, because typically I like hardback books and I don't really like to read on my phone. But I would suggest, especially if you want to be able to carry your books around, you can actually have them on your phone or in your Kindle, or like, I've had a Kindle for the past 10 years. I've not used it. Okay, not 10 years, maybe like the past few months, but I've not used it because I'm still trying to get the hang of reading soft copies. But still, explore different formats of books. You'll be surprised at what you may actually like. My next tip would be to be okay with DNFing books. DNF means did not finish. And I think that a lot of times readers or potential readers or people who are trying to fall in love with reading always feel this obligation to finish every single book that they pick up. And now, why that is such a dangerous mentality is because if you find yourself reading a book that, yes, it might have been hyped in the book community, but you actually don't like it, you struggle through the book, struggle, and then you end up throwing yourself in a reading slump because you genuinely did not enjoy the book. Like, I don't even know when it's too early to say do not finish. There's no rule to any of these things, but I feel like if you're reading a book and you're not feeling it, be okay with actually dumping the book. And even if you want to do a review on it and say, oh, I read so and so to this part and this was why I did not finish this book, then that's totally fine. Or if there are books that you feel like, you know what, yes, a lot of people hyped this book, but I couldn't relate to it, I didn't vibe with it, it wasn't entertaining to me the way people said it was, that's totally fine as well. Don't feel this unnecessary obligation to finish every single book that you pick up. Like, there's no book police that is going to put a gun to your head to say you must finish every book that you read. So if it's not working for you, dump it. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. My last tip would be to limit distractions when you are reading. So a lot of us typically like to read with our phones like on high alert, notifications blinking left, right, and center. If we are phone addicts, we want to check Instagram every 2 minutes. There's some books that you have to read and be fully concentrated in what you're reading. You can't read it, dump it for like 7 days, come back to it, read it, dump it for like 5 hours, come back to it. There's some books that for you to make headway, you actually have to read 100 pages at a go, or 50 pages at a go, or 10 pages at a go. So as much as possible, try to avoid distractions that sort of break your interest in reading the book or that break your flow in reading the book, so that you ultimately have a lovely reading experience for that book or whatever book you try to pick up. Now, this is a tip that might be very hard to practice because a lot of us always have our phones beside us, and for people who even read on their phones, you see the notifications drop down, I would advise that if you put aside 1 hour to read every single day, for that 1 hour, either you turn off your notifications or put them on silent, put your phone in another room if you can, or put it far away from you that you actually have to stand up from where you are to go to where your phone is to actually press the phone, then that might work at the end of the day. So here are 7 tips that can help you to enjoy your reading experience generally. Like, just remember that reading is supposed to be fun, it's supposed to be light, even if it's for academic purposes. Remember that you're reading to gain knowledge. Remember why you are reading in the first place. I think that always helps for you to enjoy it. Nobody's putting a gun to your head. If it is for academic purposes, then you know that you have to read because you're going to pass. Maybe you want to get a qualification or a certification or whatever it is that you want to get. Remember that there's also that reward in that, so you don't have to do like as if you're suffering all through the process. So I hope that with this simple, but not so simple practical tips, that you'll be able to enjoy your reading experiences going forward. If there are any other tips that I've left out, please let me know in the comments as well. Don't forget to subscribe, don't forget to like this video, share it with your friends or people who may find it useful, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.